Alright guys, warm welcome to the channel and the video. Today is day 2 of 100 days program which we call Project SHURU. So today I plan to do some running or like starting with some jogging actually. So before that there is a warm-up which I like to do and I would like to record it and share it with you, which would be not an exhaustive way of doing a warm up, but it is something which I personally like to do it for myself before my jogging usually. So let's get into it. But before that, importance of warm up. This prepares us for doing some actual intense activity or workout which we're gonna perform. So it prepares our muscles, body, joints to get that tension which we are pressure tension which we are going to give in the main workout. So warm up is really important. Do not miss it, guys. And here's what I like to do, and you can do it before your jogs, runs as well. The sheets going in the background, so you might hear the noises already. But yeah, let's get going. That's how it is in villages of Manali. So I really like this activity which I learned few years back, where you keep your entire body very loosen up and you start bouncing. Your ankles loosen up, knees, and you try to loosen up the shoulders, wrist, full body is actually very loosen up. This increases your heart rate and increases the body temperature. Keep your mouth closed and breathe through the nose. Once you feel your heart rate is really high and you want to take a break, just stay very stationary. Absolutely try to feel the stillness. Even you can take your right palm on your abdomen and left palm onto your chest and feel the heart beating. Once you feel that your breath is returning to normal, you again start for another round of it. I usually like to do 2 to 3 rounds. It really gives me that push for the entire warm up. Then you can do few variations in this. The one which I really like and which really loosen up the pelvic area and the lower back especially, where I try to twist my body as I bounce, which looks like this. With this, I don't know if you can hear the cracking sound. There is a lot of this stress and tension kind of thing which stores in this particular region, your lower back and hip area, and this really gets very loosened up. But after few seconds of twisting and bouncing, you see that there is absolutely no jerking which I am giving. I'm not trying to put my foot entirely on the floor. I'm on my toes and I'm trying to keep the knees and ankles, everything loosen up, nice and easy. Again, this is not a follow along, this is just to give you the hint of the practices which I do and what are the key points related to these practices which I would really want you to know, so that you don't do it in a manner which hurts you anywhere. That's the second way of bouncing routine which I like. And then you can go for some butt kicks. I really like to keep my hands up, which really, we keep our hands down all the time and hardly take our hands up, which is really impacting our shoulder health. So this is the moment where you can make use of this time and take your hands up, like taking your hands overhead. Then the fourth one I like is taking the knee forward. High knees is again a very high impact practice. I like to keep it loose, like little easy version of it. So because as we are discussing about the warm up, it's not like I've already warmed up and I go for full high knees, but I try to keep it more relaxed. Again, option to keep your hands up. So that's jumping jacks can also be included in this. The whole idea of this bouncing activity or hopping activity, which can be called as low impact jumping, is to prepare our joints and get the heart rate up. My heart rate is really up. I have not been into practice for a long time. It was a long break. I'm starting back again. So yeah, you can see it really made the heart rate up. Many times I see that when we try to take deep breaths in, we take the breath in and our abdomen goes in, which is not the right way of breathing. Even in yoga, it is said that the full yogic breathing, our abdomen, our lungs, like not abdomen, basically our lungs are receiving something. They are getting the oxygen in. So when you receive something, like a balloon gets more bigger. So when we are receiving, our diaphragm will push down, which will make our abdomen pop out. So the point here is that when you try to breathe in, try to make yourself, you should be getting more bigger rather than getting more shrink in the abdomen. But when you, like, it could be going like breathing in, bigger chest, bigger puffed chest, bigger abdomen, and as you exhale, everything gets shrink. Take few deep breaths right after your bouncing activity, and that will put you at your heart rate at rest, and then you will be ready for doing your next activity. So these are the 5 activities of bouncing and hopping which I like. You can follow it for 30 seconds, then 30 seconds of rest, and however your heart allows you to do. All right. The next thing which I like is to do few kicks. I really like to go for some sideways movement. So when I'm doing this, you see, let's understand the concept of compensation here. If I try to make my upper body go to the other side, it will help me to take the leg up, but it will put less impact on the muscles which are used to take the leg up. So here I would advise you to keep yourself neutral and then try to raise your leg up. Few side kicks and few frontal kicks as well. Yeah, there is something where you can really make that calf muscles and the shins work, which I like, where you take your body weight on the toes and you start using your calf muscles, and then the second one is when you try to take your toes up by pushing your toes up. So at that time our shins gets really warmed up for our jog. So I have seen that traditionally many of us are doing calf raises but missing on the part where we raise the toes up. It's very important. These are the first decelerator when we try to stop after a jump or when we are putting some brakes. This is the muscle which really works to stop us, decelerator brakes of our body. So please make sure that you warm them up and also train them to keep them strong. You will have less impact on the knee joint if you do so. Alright, so one more tip here, that please use some support as you do this practice. So I'll really quickly shift the angle. One quick tip as you do this practice, I want you to be supported with your hand, which allows you to, in the beginning it allows you to have a good sense of balance, and at the same time you're really trying hard to push the toes up, which really fires up the shin area, and you're not compromising by pushing the hips back. You're trying to keep your hips where they are and just trying to push the toes up. Better balance with this, and also less compromise and trying to take the toes up, really up. That's what we are trying to get in this practice. The other practice which I would recommend you is doing some ankle cars. Cars stands for controlled articulation rotation, which means that when you are trying to rotate any particular joint, here in this case that is an ankle, we try to have a control over it and try to go to the end range which we can explore in that direction. So if I am pointing the toe down, I will keep pressing it down until I feel that this is the end range, and then slowly move it to the other side, all the way up, keep getting up, and then all the way to the other side. This makes one controlled articulation rotation or one car onto one side, like in a clockwise direction. Usually what I see is ankle rotations very lightly. So this is what you can improve upon, that you try to do any, like for example if you are doing a wrist, so then you try to go all the way into flexion, sideways, extension, again sideways, and then doing in slowly in a controlled way. So some ankle rotations on both the legs in both the directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise. As we are warming up, we want more blood flow in the lower body, in the hips, in all the parts of our lower body. This particular practice, which sometimes called as lizard stretch, and little adding a twist to it, like twisting in the upper body, really makes a very good warm-up practice for any sort of training. So let's get into it. You can start in tabletop position and then push back into downward facing dog, taking the leg up and pushing the leg outside your both hands. Once you have placed the leg outside, do not keep the hips high, rather push them into the floor. Once you're pushing them, try not to push the knee down, keep it up, and as you do so, you try to place your palm inside and swipe your hand up. That's the twist which you give. One very important point here, do not stress the shoulder, the hand which is on down, balancing hand which is down. Do not take the shoulder blade ahead close to your ear. Push it back and open yourself up. In the front, it looks like this. And keep pushing the hips forward. Yeah. Even 5 times on each side would be a good way to start. Deep squat, no, nothing like that. So if you are having difficulty in going all the way down, try putting something underneath your heels, and then slowly, with keeping the feet hip distance apart, toes slightly pointing out, breathing in, trying to sit down, exhaling, pushing yourself back up, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the quads. Wonderful way to get things going. Another thing, and that would be probably wrapping up, it would be too long. So one thing which I really like is, like, we didn't cover spine a lot. So this practice will cover spine, our hamstring, like the entire posterior chain will get warmed up with this. Alright, so you can add it with the squat practice, deep squat practice. Otherwise, you can just do it separately. The practice is you sit down into a squat, and in the squat, you try to push the knees out as you're pushing the shoulders down and trying to make your spine long. Once you are here, you're pushing your palms down, fingers and palms towards the floor. With an exhalation, you try to bring your hips up to a standing forward fold. At this point, you can turn your feet also inward. You see that these muscles are really getting long. Try to push the knees back, but if you are here, that's also okay. From here, we try to make our spine round and curling one vertebra up very slowly. Once we are here, try to open up the palms, push the shoulder blades down, push the lower back into an arch, reaching the chest forward and opening up the cervical for all the way up, chin all the way up. Exhaling, you bring chin to the chest. Slowly we start rounding the spine, one vertebra at a time. It's like a Jefferson curl. Once you reach down, you try to flatten up the spine, keeping the neck relaxed. Again, toes pointing little out, and with bending the knees, giving some length to your spine, shoulders pushed down, knees pushing out. Again, depending on the time you have, you can go for some 3 to 5 to 10 rounds of it. Super good practice. These are few practices which I like to do before getting into some jogging, running, or anything which would really, okay, keeping it simple. So these are some practices which I like to start my warm-up routine before I go into my real workout, which is jogging or running. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something in this video, and yeah, I will try to make out it more, maybe I will attach a link to a sheet, or I will just attach a screen on the screen how many times or how many seconds you can do a particular practice, which would be a good warm-up routine. But the idea of this video was to make you understand that do not compromise on one thing to accomplish the other thing. That's the concept of compromise. Like if I try to keep my joint stiff and try to bounce, I would be impacting my knees and entire body. Avoid that, keep things loose enough, and then bounce like feather. And all other stuff we just discussed. Hope you like the video. Share it with somebody who is starting their transformation journey, who is trying to get more healthier, or when you try to go for a jog, try doing some of these warm-up along with whatever you like to do. And until then, I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Cheers.